He is the shrieking, high-pitched middle manager who hates his life. He is the depressed writer stealing money from his mother's purse. He is the founding father who is too stubborn to be liked, and the billionaire prosecutor who needs to be tied up to feel anything at all.
There's one thing you're certainly not. An assistant United States attorney for the Southern District of New York. Drop your credentials at the guard's desk and get the fuck out of here!
If you look at the last 25 years of American cinema, you will see Brad Pitt aging like a fine wine. You will see Tom Cruise refusing to age at all. But in the cracks between the blockbusters, you will find Paul Giamatti, sweating, screaming, losing. He has built a legendary career by playing the men Hollywood usually ignores, the irritants, the cowards, the petty tyrants, and the guys who just really, really hate Merlot. And somehow, by playing the characters nobody wants to be, he became the one actor we can't live without. Paul is the physical embodiment of anxiety, ego, and that specific type of male insecurity that usually requires therapy to uncover. There is a photo from 2024 that explains this better than I can. It was taken after the Golden Globes. Giamatti had just won Best Actor for The Holdovers, beating out Cillian Murphy and Bradley Cooper. Cooper spent 6 years learning to conduct an orchestra for his role. Giamatti spent a few weeks wearing a fake, lazy eye. And after winning the award, Giamatti didn't go to the Vanity Fair party. He went to In-N-Out Burger. He sat there in his tuxedo, with his statue on the dirty table, eating a double-double. The internet loved it because it looked like a meme, but I think it's the defining image of his career. He erases himself so completely inside these flawed men that there is no celebrity left to market. In a system that rewards ego, his refusal to be cool has made him indispensable to the films, but strangely invisible to the fame.
To understand the anomaly of Paul Giamatti, you have to go back to 1997. At this point, he is a nobody. He is a journeyman actor floating in the background of other people's movies. He's the guy in the control room in The Truman Show. He's Heckler number 2 in Man on the Moon. He is entirely invisible. But then he gets cast in Private Parts, the Howard Stern biopic. He plays Kenny Pig Vomit Rushton, and this is the role that establishes the Giamatti frequency. Pig Vomit is a suit. He represents corporate control in a chaotic world, and Giamatti plays him not as a villain, but as a nervous breakdown in a cheap tie. Howard Stern actually didn't want to cast him at first. He thought Giamatti was too nice. He couldn't see the menace. But Giamatti understood something about the nature of the antagonist that Stern didn't. He knew that the scariest villains aren't the strong ones. The scariest villains are the weak ones, who have just a little bit of authority. There is a specific scene where he screams the call letters of the radio station. WNBC!
You're not gonna get bashful on me now, are you, Howard? Okay, the way it's said properly is WNBC. Come on.
WNBC.
No. Listen up. WNBC. You hear that kind of lift?
WNBC. WNBC. WNBC.
His voice goes so high it threatens to shatter the camera lens. It isn't a roar of authority. It's the shrill frequency of a bureaucrat losing his mind. Most actors spend their 20s trying to look tough, trying to lower their voice an octave to sound like a leading man. Giamatti spent his 20s perfecting the art of the impotent shriek. He weaponized his own lack of physical intimidation. And in doing so, he did the impossible. He stole the movie from the most famous radio host on the planet. He proved that you don't need charisma to dominate a screen. You just need the courage to be absolutely, undeniably annoying.
After Private Parts, Hollywood wasn't sure what to do with him. The easy path was to keep casting him as the screaming antagonist, the guy who gets covered in blue dye in Big Fat Liar. The comic relief. But in 2003, Giamatti made a choice that defined the rest of his career. He stopped playing the villain and started playing the victim. He became the poet of failure. It started with American Splendor, a biopic of Harvey Pekar, the underground comic book writer who chronicled the crushing banality of his own life. The film is a high-wire act. It features the real Harvey Pekar talking to the camera and Paul Giamatti playing Harvey Pekar. You have the real man and the actor side by side, and somehow Giamatti feels more real than the guy who actually lived it. He captures the slouch, the pessimism, the deep existential exhaustion of filing paperwork at a VA hospital. This role changed the trajectory. He wasn't just a character actor anymore. He was a leading man, but a new kind of leading man. He became the face of the American midlife crisis. This culminated a year later in Sideways. If you drink wine, you know the impact of this film. Giamatti plays Miles, a failed writer, a divorcee, and a man terrified of his own mediocrity. There's the famous scene outside the restaurant. I am not drinking
any fucking Merlot!
It's a funny line. It's on t-shirts. But watch his face when he says it. He isn't angry about the grape varietal. He is screaming because his book isn't getting published. He is screaming because his ex-wife is remarried. He is screaming because he is 40 years old and his life has amounted to nothing. That scene single-handedly tanked the sales of Merlot in the United States. That is the specific power of Paul Giamatti. He can scream about a wine list and influence the global economy. And yet, the Academy ignored him. He wasn't nominated for Best Actor. It is considered one of the biggest snubs in Oscar history. But in a way, it fits the narrative perfectly. Hollywood eventually realized that Giamatti could carry a project. So, in 2008, HBO took a massive risk. They cast him as the lead in John Adams. We are used to our founding fathers looking like marble statues. We want them to be tall, stoic, and heroic. Paul Giamatti is none of those things. He played John Adams as he actually was: short, round, irritable, and deeply insecure. There is a concept in economics called the beauty premium. Beautiful people earn more money, get lighter prison sentences, and are perceived as more competent. In Hollywood, this premium is everything. But Giamatti pays the ugly tax. Critics at the time actually complained that he was too unlikable to be a founding father. They wanted the myth. Giamatti gave them the man. He played Adams as a guy who loved his country but hated people. He showed us that you don't have to be charismatic to change history. You just have to be stubborn. In the courtroom scene, defending the British soldiers, he doesn't win with a soaring speech. He wins with logic. He wins by being the smartest, most annoying guy in the room. It brings up a fascinating point about his acting style. Giamatti says he acts from the head. He treats the script like sheet music. He focuses on the rhythm and the syllables. It's a very intellectual approach, which makes sense. His father was the president of Yale. Giamatti grew up in a house of academics. He isn't a method actor who feels the pain. He is a technician who constructs the pain. And that technical precision allows him to play monsters without becoming one. This leads us to the modern era of Giamatti. He defined the landscape of prestige TV as Chuck Rhoades in Billions. On the surface, Chuck Rhoades is the opposite of Miles from Sideways. He is a powerful US attorney, he is wealthy, he destroys people for a living. But if you look closer, it's the same character. Chuck Rhoades is just pig vomit with a law degree. He is a man obsessed with power because he feels small. The brilliance of his performance is the contrast. By day, he is a tyrant. By night, he is a submissive. The show explored the BDSM dynamic between him and his wife, and Giamatti played it with absolute sincerity. A lesser actor would play the kink for laughs, or for shock value. Giamatti played it as a necessity.
He showed us that this powerful man needs to be tied up and humiliated just to feel human. It is a brave performance. Most actors protect their ego. They want to look cool. They want to look tough. Giamatti consistently chooses roles that humiliate him. He lets us see the sweat. He lets us see the desperation. And by doing so, he exposes the fragility of male power. He shows us that the guys in the expensive suits are just as broken as the guys stealing money from their mother's purse. And that brings us to The Holdovers. This film feels like a victory lap for his entire career. He reunited with Alexander Payne, the director of Sideways, and he played Paul Hunnam, a teacher at a prep school who everyone hates. He has a lazy eye, he smells like fish, he is a curmudgeon.
Son of a bitch, that's another detention!
You had no right to interfere.
I don't give a shit. I said I don't give a shit. You two were unreachable.
It is the ultimate Giamatti role. But there is a difference this time. In Sideways, the tragedy was that Miles wanted to be special. In The Holdovers, the tragedy is that Paul knows he isn't. There is a quietness to this performance that wasn't there 20 years ago. He doesn't need to scream about Merlot anymore.
Want to drink Merlot? We're drinking Merlot.
No, if anybody orders Merlot, I'm leaving. I am.
He just needs to look at a student with that fake lazy eye and convey decades of loneliness. He finally got the Oscar nomination for this one. He was the front runner for months. But in the end, he didn't win. He lost to Cillian Murphy. And honestly, the loss fits the Paul Giamatti narrative better. He isn't supposed to be the king of Hollywood. He is the guy who almost makes it. Paul Giamatti is the antidote to the perfectionist lies we are told every day. And he reminds us that it is okay to be grumpy. It is okay to be insecure. It is okay to fail. Because while we might aspire to be Tom Cruise, we all know, deep down, that we are Paul Giamatti. And that is why we love him.